3 days ago, there was a geopolitical earthquake. It has triggered a tsunami of emotion, anger, grief, and the calls for revenge. America killed the top commander of Iran, Qasem Soleimani. Iran is mourning his loss. Iranians are calling for a strike back. Thousands turned up to attend a funeral procession in Tehran today. Look at these images. Qasem Soleimani will be buried in his hometown of Kerman tomorrow. A retaliation by Iran is certain, but no one knows when, where, and in what form it will come. West Asia is on the brink of a new war, perhaps deadlier than the previous ones. Here are the 5 developments that you should know about this escalating crisis. Number 1, the war against Islamic State, ISIS, has been more or less called off. America has pressed the pause button on the fighting in Iraq and Syria. The US-led coalition issued a statement on Sunday. America says it now wants to focus on protecting its bases and all coalition troops. There are more than 5,000 coalition soldiers in this region. They're now focusing on fortifying their own positions instead of chasing the remaining ISIS terrorists. America is facing the consequences of going after the top general of Iran. Before Tehran responds, its militias have already become active. They targeted an airbase in Iraq. Rockets fell inside the green zone in Baghdad, supposedly the safest in the Iraqi capital. Close to the US embassy, 2 rockets also struck near Iraqi bases in Baghdad and Balad. These bases host American soldiers. The Iraqi parliament, meanwhile, has voted to remove American troops from the country. Although the vote is not binding on the government of Iraq, it sends a strong message to Washington. The second major development is this. Iran says it will no longer adhere to the 2015 nuclear agreement. It has pulled out of the deal. Nearly 2 years after America withdrew from the very same deal, Iran's decision could very well dismantle the all-but-dead agreement. So what does this decision mean? Interestingly, Iran says it hasn't fully scrapped the agreement. Iran's foreign minister has said that they will allow the International Atomic Energy Agency, or the IAEA, to review their research. Tehran can rejoin the agreement if America removes the sanctions, not happening anytime soon by the looks of it. But not before it has avenged the death of General Soleimani. That is non-negotiable for Iran. Iran is not letting its guard down. The Iranian Foreign Ministry issued a clear threat during a press conference on Sunday.
آمریکایی‌ها تحریم‌های هسته‌ای رو بردارند حتی در همین شرایط هم امکان گفتگو میان ایران و پنج به اضافه یک
البته احتمالاً پس از اینکه ما حسابمون رو صاف کردیم با اونا.
The American president is not silent either. He too is threatening more strikes on Iran. President Donald Trump has threatened to strike multiple Iranian sites. In a series of tweets, Trump said that America has identified 52 sites within Iran and that some of them are, quote-unquote, at a very high level and important to Iran. Trump said that Iran will be hit very fast and very hard. Those were his words. He demanded that Iran should not issue any more threats. Meanwhile, US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has been busy. He has been speaking to his counterparts around the world and giving interviews. Pompeo has backed Trump's threats to Iran.
The Iranians make the choice to respond. I hope that they don't. President Trump has made clear what we will do in response if they do, that our response will be decisive and vigorous, just as it has been so far.
Pompeo also spoke to India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to discuss the situation in the region. And that brings us to the global response. After the drone strike that killed Qasem Soleimani, support for America has been shrinking. The US only has a few allies in its corner. Russia, the European Union, Iraq, Syria, China, and Mexico are all calling for restraint, many of them tacitly backing Iran. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson joined European leaders and called for all sides to de-escalate. Israel, Saudi Arabia and the UAE have backed the US strike to kill Qasem Soleimani. India and Japan have refused to take sides for the moment. German Chancellor Angela Merkel will travel to Moscow later this week. She will meet Russian President Vladimir Putin, and this crisis remains on top of her agenda. The fact is that not just America, but the entire world is bracing for a fallout, and that brings us to the 5th major development. Washington has reached out to Islamabad. The Trump administration wants to resume military training to Pakistan. With this move, America hopes to add one more ally to its side, and Pakistan was perhaps the obvious choice. It is playing an essential role in the Afghan peace process. The next few months will be tough for America in West Asia. It needs all the help it can get. And in its desperation, it seems willing to repeat old mistakes. Read Pakistan.